He built his life on one rule: never let anyone get close enough to matter. Harper Blackwood ruled the city's darkest corridors with fear, discipline, and absolute control. No attachments, no weaknesses, no mercy. Then Rose Laurent walked into his world wearing gold, smiling like she already owned his soul. 3 hours later, as bonfires burned and alliances quietly shattered, Harper realized the unthinkable. She wasn't just under his skin, she was etched into his heart. And now the man who never begged, never burned, never broke, was willing to destroy everything he built, just to keep her alive. Harper Blackwood didn't do distractions. He didn't do softness. He certainly didn't do hesitation. Yet there he stood, champagne untouched in his hand, staring at a woman who had just rewritten the laws of his universe. The beach estate was neutral ground, a sprawling stretch of firelight, ocean air, and carefully masked violence. Once a year, the city's criminal elite gathered here to pretend they weren't enemies, to smile, to drink, to calculate who would bleed next. Harper owned this night. He'd negotiated the truce himself. Every fire burned because he allowed it. And still, his attention was no longer his own. She moved through the crowd like she belonged nowhere and everywhere at once. Gold clung to her body in a way that felt intentional, not desperate, not decorative, dangerous. Her skin glowed in the firelight, rich, radiant, unapologetic. Her hair fell in dark waves over bare shoulders, and when she laughed, the sound cut through the music like a blade. "Who is she?" Harper asked. His voice came out rougher than intended. Beside him, his second-in-command, Ethan Cole, followed his gaze and went still. "That's Rose Laurent. She arrived with the Park Consortium." "A guest?" Harper's jaw tightened. "More like an independent operator, consultant, digital strategist." A pause. "And?" Harper pressed. Ethan lowered his voice. "And dangerous. 3 men tried to control her in the last year. All 3 lost everything." That should have been enough. Harper Blackwood had built an empire on restraint, on foresight, on never letting desire dictate decisions. So why was he already moving toward her? The closer he got, the worse it became. Her presence was magnetic, warm, expensive, disruptive. The kind of energy that didn't beg for attention, it commanded it. She turned. Their eyes met. Up close, Rose Laurent was devastating. Her lips curved in a smile that held zero fear. Her gaze assessed him with calm intelligence, as if she were evaluating whether he was worth her time. "You're blocking my view," she said smoothly. Harper blinked once, slowly. "You're standing in my house." She took a sip of her drink, unbothered. "Neutral territory, which means tonight it belongs to everyone." Bold. Most people stammered around him. Most people looked away. Rose Laurent stared like she was deciding something dangerous. "Harper Blackwood," he said, because she clearly wasn't going to ask. "I know," her smile widened. "Everyone does." Then, quietly, deliberately, "I'm just curious whether the legend lives up to the reputation." Something hot and sharp flared in his chest. Before he could respond, she brushed past him, her shoulder grazing his chest, and walked toward the shoreline. The contact lasted less than a second. It was enough to ruin him. Harper didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't look away. Ethan appeared beside him. "Boss, that woman is trouble." Harper's fingers curled slowly around the glass in his hand. "I know." Then colder, find out everything about her. By the end of the night, the file was thin. Rose Laurent, born in London, educated in finance and cyber systems, freelance consultant for multiple syndicates, no fixed address, no close family, no leverage. Except, Harper had seen the way she stared at the ocean earlier. Not longing, not nostalgia, loss. That was a vulnerability, and Harper Blackwood had built an empire by recognizing weakness. He just hadn't expected to find his own. The next morning, Harper Blackwood broke another rule. He followed her, and Rose Laurent was about to prove that walking into her world was far more dangerous than inviting her into his. Daylight stripped away illusion. Harper Blackwood had always preferred the night, where shadows hid intent and power moved quietly. But when he stepped into the cafe in Mayfair the following morning, sunlight spilling across polished floors and glass windows, he understood something unsettling. Rose Laurent was even more dangerous in the light. She sat alone near the window, laptop open, fingers moving with effortless precision, calm, focused, untouched by the world around her, like a storm contained inside a porcelain cup. He hadn't announced himself. He didn't need to. Her shoulders shifted subtly the moment he stopped in front of her. "Stalking is illegal," she said without looking up. "So is half the work you do," Harper replied evenly, sliding into the chair opposite her. "Yet here we are." That earned her attention. She lifted her gaze slowly, and Harper felt it again. That jolt, sharp and uninvited. In daylight, her beauty was quieter but more lethal. Intelligent eyes, controlled posture, a woman who never rushed, never flinched. "What do you want, Mr. Blackwood?" she asked. "To understand why someone with your skill set works for men who will eventually try to cage you." Rose closed her laptop with deliberate calm. "They pay. I pay more." She smiled, small, knowing. "You pay for obedience." His jaw tightened. "Everyone has a price. Mine isn't money." She leaned forward just enough to shift the balance between them. Harper tracked the movement instinctively, like a predator adjusting focus. "I don't belong to anyone," she said quietly. "Not you, not them, and not ever." For the first time in years, Harper Blackwood didn't have an immediate response. That irritated him. "Then what do you want?" he asked. The question slipped out before strategy could stop it. Rose stood, gathering her bag. "Right now, to finish my coffee in peace." She walked away, just like that. Harper stayed seated, watching her leave, something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. It wasn't anger, it was interest, obsession's first whisper. 3 nights later, Harper's world fractured. A secured warehouse was breached. £5 million worth of product gone. Guards unconscious, cameras wiped, and one thing left behind: a playing card, the Queen of Hearts. Ethan laid it on Harper's desk. Park Consortium signature. "They wouldn't risk this," Harper muttered. "No," Ethan agreed, "which means someone wants you to think they would." Harper's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. "Missing something?" Rose's voice flowed through the line, smooth, amused. Every muscle in Harper's body went still. "Where are you?" he demanded. "Somewhere you'll never find me." A pause. "Unless I want to be found." "Did you steal from me?" "I corrected a theft, left you a clue. You're welcome." The call ended. Harper stared at the phone, fury and fascination colliding violently inside him. She'd interfered, helped him, challenged him. Nobody did that. "Find her," he ordered coldly, "and bring her to me." Rose Laurent was escorted, not dragged, into Harper's private office that evening. She was furious, not frightened. "This is kidnapping," she snapped as the door shut behind them. "This is a conversation." Harper circled her slowly, studying her like a problem he wanted to solve and a danger he wanted to keep. "You played me. I protected you. You manipulated my operation. I saved it." They stood eye to eye now, tension coiled tight between them. "Why?" he asked. "Because I don't like men who underestimate me." She stepped closer, deliberately invading his space. "And because you've been obsessed with me since the moment I walked away from you." The truth landed hard. Harper moved fast, caging her against the desk, hands braced beside her hips, not touching, not yet, close enough that she could feel his heat. "Careful," he warned. "Or what?" she challenged softly. For a heartbeat, neither moved. Control warred with desire. Then Harper stepped back. "Work for me." "No." "Why not?" "Because the moment I do, you'll think you own me." A pause. "Then work with me," he said finally. "Equal footing." She searched his face, calculating. 1 month. If I walk away, you don't follow." Harper smiled, sharp and dangerous. "Deal." Their handshake sent electricity through them both, and they both knew this wasn't a partnership. It was the beginning of a war neither of them wanted to win. Because the moment Rose Laurent stepped into Harper Blackwood's world, someone else decided she was his weakness, and weakness in this city was a death sentence. Rose Laurent moved into Harper Blackwood's compound on a Tuesday morning. Not his personal quarters, he'd been precise about that, but a guest residence nestled inside layers of security so advanced it felt both protective and isolating. "Temporary," she reminded him as she unpacked. 1 month, Harper agreed, his voice unreadable. But they both knew the lies sitting between them. From the moment she crossed the threshold, nothing about this was temporary. Rose saw Harper everywhere. In the courtyard at dawn, shirt clinging to his frame as he trained with brutal focus. In strategy meetings, commanding silence with a glance. In her thoughts at night, uninvited and relentless. And Harper was unraveling. He told himself it was vigilance, that keeping her close was tactical, but tactics didn't explain the way his attention followed her unconsciously, didn't explain the jealousy that flared when his men laughed too easily with her, didn't explain why her safety had begun to matter more than profit margins or alliances. 2 weeks in, the illusion shattered. Rose had just stepped out of a cafe in Soho when someone grabbed her arm. She spun instantly, hand dropping to the knife in her bag, and froze. "Rose," said Julian Park, her former employer, the man she'd humiliated by walking away. "You embarrassed me," he hissed, grip tightening. "You made me look weak." "I just exposed it." His eyes darkened. "You're going to regret." "She's going to nothing." Harper's voice cut through the street like steel. He appeared between them in a single fluid motion, hand clamping around Park's wrist. "Touch her again," Harper said softly, "and you'll lose the hand." Park released her immediately. "This is neutral ground, Blackwood. This is my city." Harper positioned himself fully in front of Rose, and she's under my protection. The threat was unmistakable. Park left, but not without a look that promised retaliation. When they were alone, Harper turned to Rose. "Are you hurt?" "I can handle myself." "I know." His gaze swept over her anyway, checking, assessing, protecting. That look did something to her chest. "Thank you," she said quietly. He nodded once. Then, unexpectedly, his fingers brushed her cheek. Gentle, careful. "You're mine now, Rose." It should have made her furious. Instead, heat curled low in her stomach. "I'm not yours," she whispered. "Not yet," he replied, and walked away, leaving her shaken on the pavement, wondering when she'd started wanting to belong to someone. Sleep abandoned her that night. Rose paced the guest house, restless, heart racing. A knock came to her door. Harper stood there, eyes dark, tension vibrating off him. "Can't sleep either?" he asked. "What are you doing here?" "Making sure you're safe." She folded her arms. "Help always comes with strings." "What do you think I want?" he asked quietly. The truth slipped out of him before he could stop it. "You." The word hung heavy. "I want you," he continued, voice raw. "You're in my head, under my skin, and I don't know how to make it stop." Her breath caught. "Tell me to leave," he said. "Tell me you don't feel this, and I'll go." She didn't speak. She pulled him inside. The door slammed shut behind them. The kiss was inevitable, not gentle, not hesitant. It was months of restraint shattering in a single moment. Harper backed her against the wall, hands mapping her like he needed to memorize every line. Rose matched him, refusing to yield, refusing to be consumed without consuming him back. It wasn't about dominance, it was about recognition. Later, long after the world outside faded, Rose lay in his arms, listening to his heartbeat. She should have felt safe. Instead, terror crept in. Because Harper Blackwood wasn't destroying her with cruelty. He was destroying her with tenderness. And men like him didn't stay. Before dawn, she left. Harper woke to cold sheets. For 3 seconds, his mind stayed blank. Then panic hit. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Don't look for me. Last night was a mistake." The word mistake tore through him. "Find her," he barked into the phone. "I don't care how." Because Rose Laurent was running from the one man who would burn the world for her, and Harper Blackwood was about to do the unthinkable. He was going to beg. Rose Laurent made it 3 blocks away before her hands began to shake. She'd left. Really left. The compound, the safety, the man who had made her feel seen in ways that terrified her. She checked into a hotel under a false name, disabled every tracker she owned, and locked the door behind her like it could keep emotions out. It didn't. Because the truth was cruel and simple. Leaving Harper Blackwood hurt more than staying ever could. 3 days passed. Rose worked, ate, slept, functioned. But everything felt muted, like color had been drained from the world. She told herself she'd done the right thing, that attachment was a liability, that men like Harper didn't love, they consumed. On the 4th day, someone knocked. Rose froze. She checked the peephole. Harper. Perfectly still, perfectly controlled. But his eyes looked like a man who hadn't slept, hadn't breathed, hadn't lived. She opened the door. "How did you find me?" she whispered. "I told you," he said, stepping inside without permission. "You're mine." "I'm not." "Then why are you hiding?" His voice cracked the room open. Harper closed the distance between them slowly, like approaching something fragile. "Why did you run?" Because last night was everything, she said, voice breaking, and everything always ends. He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his gaze. Don't lie to me, Rose. I know what we felt. It was just, it wasn't. His jaw clenched. I've had just sex. That wasn't it. Silence thickened. That was me finding something I didn't know I needed. Tears burned her eyes. You'll leave, she whispered. You'll get bored or angry or tired of trying to understand me. Never. The word was feral. I will never leave you, he said. You are chaos and challenge and everything I should avoid. He rested his forehead against hers. I don't care. Her walls cracked. Come back, he whispered. Please. From a man who had never begged. She broke. Rose kissed him like it was a confession. When they broke apart, she pressed her forehead to his chest. If you hurt me, she murmured, I'll destroy you. If I hurt you, he replied without hesitation, I'll deserve it. She returned with him that night, not as a guest, as a decision. Living in Harper's personal space was different, more intimate, more dangerous. He memorized her habits, brought her coffee exactly how she liked it, listened, actually listened when she talked about systems and security. And he was jealous, violently. At a business dinner, one of his associates smiled too long at Rose. You're wasted behind a computer, the man said lightly. Enough. Harper's voice silenced the table. That won't happen again. Later, in the car, I'm not a possession, Rose said quietly. I know, Harper replied. But when he looked at you like that, his breath hitched. I wanted to end him. She should have been afraid. She wasn't. A month in, everything shattered. Ethan burst into Rose's office, blood on his sleeve. Problem, he said. Harper arrived seconds later. Warehouses hit, men dead, and then a photograph. Rose, taken from afar. A message on the back. She costs too much. Hand her over. Harper went still. The dangerous calm. He wants a war, he said. I'm not negotiating. That night, Rose found him staring out at the city. This is my fault, she said. This is his choice. I can end this, she offered. No. His voice broke. I can't lose you. She took his hands. Then trust me. Silence. Finally, Jean will be close, he said, and I'm in your ear the entire time. Because Rose Laurent was about to walk into a trap, and Harper Blackwood was already planning to burn the world if she didn't come back. The warehouse sat at the edge of the river, abandoned by the city, but not by ghosts. Rust flaked from steel doors. Water lapped against concrete like a warning. Rose stepped out of the car alone, no weapon visible, no fear on her face. In her ear, Harper's voice was steady, but too controlled. Door on your left, cameras are live. Jean has the south exit. If this goes wrong, Rose said softly, promise me something. Anything. Don't burn the city for me. A pause. Then, quiet, honest. I can't promise that. She smiled, even as dread curled in her chest. Inside, the air smelled of oil and old secrets. Julian Park waited near the center, flanked by men with guns and bad intentions. You came, he said, slow clapping, brave or stupid. Rose met his gaze, calm and precise. You wanted me. Here I am. Park laughed. Did you really think I'd let you walk out after humiliating me twice? She stepped closer. You don't want me, she said. You want leverage. His smile thinned. True. She felt it then, the shift. Steel doors slammed shut, lights cut, gunfire exploded. Rose, down! Harper's shout came through the earpiece just as someone grabbed her from behind. The wire ripped free, and the world went dark. Harper felt the signal die. The sound that tore from his chest wasn't human. Move! He didn't wait for strategy, didn't wait for backup. He went through the front doors like a storm. Gunshots echoed. Men fell. Harper Blackwood didn't hesitate. He didn't enjoy it either. This wasn't rage, it was terror, because somewhere inside that warehouse, Rose was bleeding, and nothing else mattered. Rose woke on cold concrete, hands bound, head ringing. Park crouched in front of her. You should have run farther. She smiled faintly. You talk too much. She drove her heel into his knee. Chaos erupted. She rolled, kicked, screamed, fought like someone who refused to be owned. A gunshot cracked the air. Park screamed. Then, silence. Harper stood in the doorway, blood on his hands, eyes wild. They stared at each other across the room. You're hurt, he said, voice breaking. Not enough, she replied. He crossed the distance in seconds, crushing her into his arms. For the first time, he was shaking. Park lay bleeding, begging. Kill him, one of Harper's men urged. Harper looked down at the man who'd threatened everything, then at Rose. Her hand tightened in his jacket. No, she said quietly, don't become him. Something inside Harper shifted. He handed the gun away. Call the authorities, he ordered. Let him live. Park sobbed in disbelief. Harper didn't look back. Dawn found them on the riverbank, wrapped in silence. I thought I lost you, Harper said finally. You didn't. I almost destroyed everything. But you didn't. She touched his cheek. You chose me without losing yourself. His forehead rested against hers. I don't know how to love without violence. Then learn, with me. Because surviving the night was only the beginning, and loving Harper Blackwood meant facing what came after the blood. The city woke like nothing had happened. Traffic moved, people complained about coffee. The world continued, indifferent to the blood spilled in the shadows. But inside Harper Blackwood's world, everything had changed. Julian Park was alive, arrested, and talking, not out of courage, but fear. And Harper had spent the night sitting beside Rose's bed, counting every breath she took like a prayer. The authorities didn't knock, they arrived. Black SUVs, quiet men, questions wrapped in politeness and threat. Harper answered them all. He gave up warehouses, cut loose old alliances, burned bridges that had once defined him. You're dismantling your own empire, Ethan warned later. Harper didn't look up. Good. Power was easy. Keeping Rose was harder and worth everything. Weeks passed. No guns, no emergencies, just life. Rose worked from the compound, but the walls felt different now. Open, chosen. One evening, Harper handed her a slim folder. What's this? My finances, my companies, my contingency plans. She stared at him. This is control, she said carefully. No, he corrected. This is trust. Her throat tightened. I've never given anyone the ability to destroy me, he said quietly. You already could. Now it's official. For the first time, Rose saw fear in him and love. Harper learned how to be human. Badly. He burned dinner, forgot how normal couples argued, bought her security systems when she asked for flowers. But he tried, and when nightmares woke him, hands shaking, breath fractured, Rose didn't leave. She grounded him, reminded him who he was becoming. Not a monster, not a king, just a man learning to love without destroying. 6 months later, they stood on the rooftop overlooking the city city he once ruled through fear. "I'm stepping back," Harper said, "from all of it." She turned, stunned. "You don't have to." "I want to." He took a breath, unsteady. "I don't know how to be small," he admitted, "but I know how to choose you." He dropped to one knee, not with diamonds, not with spectacle, just honesty. "Rose Laurent," he said, voice rough, "stay. Not because you're protected, not because I'm powerful, but because I am better when you're here." Tears fell freely. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes." Harper Blackwood disappeared from the headlines. Rumors followed. Some said he died, some said he ran. The truth was quieter. A man walking hand in hand with a woman who refused to be owned. A life built not on fear, but choice. And sometimes, late at night, when the city lights blinked like distant stars, Harper would kiss Rose's temple and murmur, "You didn't tame me." She'd smile, "I never wanted to."